we were financing a nudist colony out in Kissimmee, and somebody had to go look at it, so I volunteered. In 1995, I decided to build an upside-down house on International Drive. I knew nothing about the attraction business. When I look back on it now, I'm like, what was I thinking? Are your best days ahead of you or behind you?
Oh my gosh, definitely ahead.
The funny thing about that question, I've asked that question to everybody in all stripes and ages. 80 years old, 90 years old, they always say, ahead of me.
Florida's Fourth Estate with hosts Ginger Gadsden and Matt Austin. The show where we bring Florida into focus. Sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
Are you ready to turn?
We want to switch gears now and talk about your alma mater. UF, beloved UF. I know you love that school, and I know what happened recently with Ben Sass. You say that you will never, ever donate another dime to UF again because of the way Ben Sass ran that school and the way he exited. Talk a little bit about your disappointment. And he got, it's not even a gold, is it a platinum parachute until 2028?
Well, when you get $1 million to do nothing after ripping off the university the way he did, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. The problem in Florida is all of our university presidents are now cronies. They should, they're just friends of the governor. They don't have really any business being presidents of universities. The only one that I ever saw that turned out to be great was John Thrasher at FSU. He was a politician, but boy, he was great for FSU. So I'm not saying you shouldn't, but when everybody is a politician and crony, that's, they got, listen, Richard Corcoran's
I knew Richard Corcoran at New College.
I love him. Listen, I've had so many great nights of smoking cigars and drinking red wine with Richard Corcoran. I love the guy. When he was thinking about running for governor, I was going to support him. He flew down. But Richard is like over at New College. What is New College? I thought it was
making $700,000.
I thought it was a nudist colony, but nude college.
John signing up for classes.
I went over to see
in person.
I went over the other days if my grandchildren should go here. I know it's 15, 16 years. I just want to see the grounds.
Check out the campus.
One time I started a bank years ago, and we were financing a nudist colony out in Kissimmee, and somebody had to go look at it, so I volunteered. I will tell you what. I'll tell you what about
what
this.
What does that look like, though?
I'll tell you what it looked like. Everybody that was a nudist should not have been a nudist. I went into the cafeteria. They're all sitting on towels,
Thank
eating.
Goodness.
I'm like, none of you should be a nudist.
Did they play any pickleball?
Well, that was before pickleball. This was in Kissimmee. I'm trying to think of the name of the place.
Oh, it's a big one.
We were financing new condos.
Yeah.
So I went out there hoping to see something, and I saw something.
He saw a lot of stuff.
I saw a lot of stuff.
You can't unsee that either.
This is a podcast with John Morgan. This is why we like it so much. So I do want to go back to Ben Sass. So $17 million he spent in his first year in office. That was triple the guy who was before him. He then had a couple of friends from Washington, D.C., working from D.C., not even moving to the college, and they were both pulling in around $400,000 a year. So I know you probably have contacts in there. What was going on with this situation? It seems like an exorbitant amount of money.
Cronyism. I'm going to take care of all of my friends. And that's what happened. But look, these universities half of the classes are BS. I don't know where you went.
I went to FSU.
Okay, well, you did poorly on the SAT. but
Fair.
If you do Florida SAT, FSU SAT.
Oh, I won't even
New
talk.
college.
New
college is like, you got money.
Yeah, let's go.
Take off your clothes. Take off your clothes. You don't have to take that. Take off your clothes and come to New college. And there's like 3,000 people over at the nude college. And he's paying $700,000.
You got to stop calling it nude college.
You're going to start calling it.
I know. It's going to mess us up on the news.
But it used to be real liberal. That's why I used to think of it as a nudist colony. Yeah. But now it's, Liberty. It's like Jerry Falwell College now.
Oh, boy.
Who, by the way, there's more filth that goes on with the Jerry Falwell crowd than anything at Nude College.
Oh, we can't talk about
I've
that.
seen that documentary.
Yeah,
You
we
see
have.
that boy? And Billy Graham's son. I mean, these hypocrites. But that's what happened there. And it just is run amok. Everybody, they were going to make Randy Fine the president of another college.
He was pushing for it.
He was pushing for it, but they didn't want him. And there's nobody that's really should be president of these colleges. But the universities are a cesspool of waste. And when I think about the classes that I took, I don't know if any of them mattered. I mean, I'm taking classes like theater appreciation,
Hey.
the meat we eat.
I'm a theater kid.
I took football theory at FSU.
You took a circus class.
Yes, I did.
Clown college. I've seen the clown college, the big tent.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right
this
there
is
in the
a
middle of
college.
campus.
Learn, come to FSU, be a clown.
And now I'm a journalist.
And now you're
John.
a journalist. Well, but so UF and then it's all spills into the football. Dan Mullen was there for 4 years. He finished in the top 10 in America 3 times, had one bad season. Before that, he was at Mississippi State where they won. They'd never won before. And he had Dak Prescott. And before that, he was Tebow's coach when they won the national championship. No, because these boosters burn me up. And I'll tell you why. These guys cannot chew bubble gum and walk a straight line. I got a little friend who's a booster. He's about this tall. And he talks about it like this guy.
Is that why you call him your little friend?
Yeah. Yeah. Seth. And this guy was so unathletic that his friends told me he struck out in kickball in elementary school. But he's there talking about how, this is a disgrace. And you throw him a ball and these boosters are
But they
boobs.
have the power. They have the power.
But they didn't ever play. I've never criticized anybody that's doing what I can't do. I mean, it's hard what they do. They catch it with one hand, keeping one toe in, and they're like, he's not focusing. Well, go show him how. But they're all up there. FSU, you all got this Norvell guy that buyout for him is like $66 million.
It's cheaper to keep him.
Oh, we can't get rid of that
We
guy.
got Napier. Look, I don't blame you. But who's going to pay the $66 million?
Nobody. And he had a good season.
And
At
you
least
got
Napier hasn't had that.
Look, Napier, when I first saw him hired, I'm like, we got rid of. I talk to Dan Mullen all the time. He's going to coach next year. He's living up in Ritz-Carlton thing up in Atlanta. He's going to move to Ponte Vedra, and he's going to coach again. He's just been making money.
Yeah, on TV.
Wow.
He's just been making money. He'll coach again, and he will win again. So you got all these boosters and boards of trustees, and they don't know what they're talking about. And the money is just pouring out. So why I said I'm not, I gave $1 million recently to the law school to build a courtroom, but no, I'm sour on it because if you're not going to be a good steward of your money, you're not going to get my money.
But
I'd much rather give my money to the Morgan Hunger Relief Center at Second Harvest or the Ultima Morgan House at Harbor House or the Mustard Seed or
where you know where it's going.
Yes.
But the thing about this story is that had it not been for a journalism student,
Alligator,
Yeah.
Florida Independent Alligator.
We were so proud.
I was proud of her. She called me and I said, let me tell you something. This is going to get you a big job. She didn't say why. I go, this is a big deal, what you've done here as a student.
it's incredible.
great.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I was proud. I said, listen, I'm proud for you. I said, I'm proud for your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something else.
That's fantastic.
That's really something else.
All right. Should we close it out with our
Oh
questions?
my gosh, yeah. Let's
All
do
right.
our questions. Let
All
me
right.
find. I gotta find mine.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
You don't have to just kind of give us the answer on this.
Just whatever comes to mind.
I stole a bunch of these. We stole them from Larry King.
Oh no,
Okay?
he went way back.
I did. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Who would you trade places with for a day?
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, that's a good one.
What's your guilty pleasure?
My granddaughter, Grace. I can't get enough of her. I think about her all day.
Man, you can't do that with me with daughters. If you weren't an attorney, what would you be?
Bruce Springsteen.
I don't know if that's
Setting
true.
a theme here. Okay, so what's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
I knew nothing about it. In 1995, I decided to build an upside-down house on International Drive. Why? Because my kids would go to science centers and they all sucked. And I said, we need to build something that's interactive, but I need something to draw the moths to the flame. Somebody showed me this picture of this house upside down. I said, how do you do it? I knew nothing about the attraction business. When I look back on it now, I'm like, what was I thinking? But, 1997, I opened. Years later, I've got them all over the country. I have no debt. I have EBITDA of $33 million a year.
Oh,
So that little risk turned into a big deal for me.
huge investment.
Huge.
I would not have I thought that was more of a, I'll do it, but not really a big.
I had no money. I had to raise money to build it. I had to raise money from family and friends. And think of those nuts who were giving me money to build an upside down. People asked me about it back in the day. They go, what are you going to do if it fails? I said, if it fails, because I used to do my commercials here. I said, if it fails, I'm going to go out. I'm going to do a commercial. I'm going to make it at my law firm. I'm going to walk out. I'm going to say, if you've been injured in an accident and find that your life's been turned upside down, come here.
Always
That's how you
thinking.
get your
Always
money back.
thinking.
You gotta have a plan B.
Exactly.
You gotta have a plan
That's
B.
true.
Yeah, always though.
Absolutely.
Always.
All right, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Years ago, I sold Yellow Pages and I was making a lot of money. And my dad had always had tough times holding a job. And I got to law school, but I was making so much money selling Yellow Pages. He said, how are you going to leave this money? Because every time he'd get fired, he'd say to me, whatever you do, be a professional. Nobody can fire you. And he got fired a lot. So we're at Frisch's and he tells me that, this was advice I didn't take. He said, I don't know how you give up this job. And at AT&T, they're talking about promoting you and you're 21. And I said, Daddy, what about be a professional? Nobody can fire you. That year, in 1979, I made almost $70,000 selling Yellow Pages. My first year as a lawyer, I made $16,000. Plus, I lost those years in law school. But guess what? I caught up.
We're going to have to explain to
Then
the
you
kids what
exceeded it.
Yellow Pages are.
I know,
So
we're
that's
gonna-
It's the old Google. They used
very old Google.
That's
You'd have to peel
the
through it.
initial. That's the first Google.
Yeah, it's for real. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
I can't believe how great your children are, because I spent a lot of time with those four on a lot of things. And, 3 of my boys are lawyers in my firm. They're very polite. They're very giving. My daughter has a structured settlement company, and that was my job. That's the job I worried about the most. And when people come up and say, I met Mike, I met Matt, I met Dan, I met Kate, wow, it just is the best.
I could see that impacts you. What makes you laugh every single time?
Jonathan Winters. Whenever I see Jonathan Winters with Johnny Carson on Facebook, I just can't get it. Look, I'm Irish. We laugh a lot. And so I think I have a pretty good sense of humor, but the thing I can laugh the most at, thank God, is myself. I think one of my strengths has been not taking myself too seriously. I'm writing my 3rd book right now. I wrote one called You Can't Teach Hungry. I wrote one called You Can't Teach Vision. The one I'm writing now is called, I'm 25 chapters in, Life is Luck, the Paperboy. What that means, what the whole thing is this: most of everything that's happened in my life has been pure luck. Pure luck. And sometimes the bad luck turned into good luck. When I had to leave Kentucky, I cried all the way to the airport. I'd never been on a plane. I had to come here. We're living in a bull house, a BS house. And I'm like, this is devastating to me. But then I get to Florida and I get here and I'm in Winter Park in a bad house, but in a good school district. My life has been left turns, right turns, this turn. In law school, one day I decided to go to Mass. I wasn't a daily Mass guy. I go to Mass. just to clear my head on a Wednesday. I'm in line to get communion. I look ahead of me. I see the greatest legs I've ever seen in my life. Like, holy cow, who's this? She's got to be ugly. She turns around. You know who she is? My wife. My wife.
It better be.
I
Hope it wasn't a priest.
No, well, he was looking at my. But yeah, I didn't let my kids be altar boys. But no way. But yeah, so I look at my life, and at the end of it all, the reason I call it the paper boy, because I have found a lot of entrepreneurs were paper boys. That's the hardest job in the world, And I think there's a genetic seed that some of us get for certain things. So when I look at my life, it's left turn, left turn, right. If I did it all over again, I wouldn't be here. There'd be one bad thing that could take me under. And I know where those things happen, where they could have taken me under, but they didn't. I could have not gone to law school. I could have said, hey, I'm making $70,000. They want to promote me in AT&T. They're going to give me an LTD. They offered me an LTD car. And my dad's saying, stay, because he'd never made more than $25,000 a year in his life. If I'd listened to my dad, I'd have probably been fired by now at AT&T.
Who knows? Oh, my gosh.
So, and my last chapter, which I haven't written yet, I've got it in my head, it's going to be called Gratitude. Because at the end of the day, and you all can be the same way, when you start to think of the left turns, the right turns, how you got here, you might have started in Des Moines, you might have started, I had one big case. Listen, I have a sports business. I represent Major League Baseball players. Zach Eflin, Orioles. It was a pretty good business. But one time we signed in my office Johan Santana, who became a Cy Young, 2-time Cy Young. In 6 months, he fired us. Why? We didn't speak Spanish. If I had kept Santana, my business would have been a lot bigger. Why? Because the thing parents ask us every time was, who are you representing now? Well, Greg Warma's son. Well, that's not enough. Sorry, Greg. And Greg didn't hire us for his son, or his son to be in the majors right now. But anyway, let the other son see that.
Tell Justin about that.
I am trying to help him get a contract right now, though. But we lost Santana. Yeah. That's what life is. So the last chapter is, don't pat yourself on the back. Just be grateful that it happened.
It's true.
And the last thing I say to myself right now, every night I got prayers. I got 5 people I'm praying for. Well, one's my dog who's got cancer. My dog got cancer in January. My wife called me in Maui, said, Molly's got cancer. She's got 2 to 3 days to live. I'm called lapse of love. We're going to have to put her down. I'm sobbing out in Maui. Then I call her back. I said, Molly's not going to die. She said, why? I said, I'm going to pray for a miracle. I said, I'm going to pray for a miracle. She said, don't waste a miracle on Molly. I said, no, I like Molly better than anybody I know. Guess what? When I left to come here, guess who said goodbye to me? Molly.
Still here.
You know what I told Molly? You know what I told Molly today? I said, hey, you're coming to Maui with me in December. Because I believe in miracles, and I believe in prayer, and I believe they work. So I got 4 or 5 people I pray for, every night. And then the last thing I say is, thank you, I don't deserve it. The journey has been the reward.
Oh my gosh, that's okay. That's incredible. Who knew there was all this inside?
Well,
I mean,
inside the size matters guy.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the last thing you touched upon it a little bit when you talked about how much you dote on your granddaughter. What would you like your grandkids to remember about you?
Well, they're going to know that nobody ever loved them more than me, and I would just like them to not necessarily know about me, but I believe there's questions I ask people when I interview them for jobs, lawyers, and I ask a question, and it goes like this, and there's no right answer. What do you value more, mercy or justice? And, most people say justice. I hope that my grandchildren say he was merciful. Because I value mercy. I value justice, but I value mercy more because I don't think there's enough mercy in the world. The Pope recently said, there's a global indifference. People see people. When I see people suffering, it hurts me. That's why I did the food bank. 250,000 people come there to the Morgan Hunger Relief Center every month, and it's the working poor. They come in uniforms. Yeah. They might come from here. Mm-hmm. You don't know. That's why I did the minimum wage, because I saw that. It's like, this ain't right. So that's what I hope they are. I hope they're merciful. I hope all the charities I give to, it's always food, water, clothing, shelter, medicine, dignity, mercy. So that's what I hope.
Who gets the job, the mercy guys or gals or the?
They both.
They do.
Because there's no right answer.
Yeah.
Most people say, public defender.
A lawyer would say justice.
They all, but some don't. Public defenders always say mercy.
Yeah.
I like public defenders. I like the mercy crowd.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you all 2 questions.
Oh, now turn the tables.
Okay.
And I usually ask these questions, a series of questions at the end of a dinner. So the question is, first question, rapid fire. I'll do my 3 rapid fire.
Okay. Let's go.
First one's easy. First concert.
Sister Hazel.
Luther Vandross.
Ooh.
She beat me on that
I
one.
know who. I just learned a little bit about you. We didn't get to Teddy Bear, did we? Did you see Teddy Bear next? But next question: is it better to love or to be loved? There's no right answer.
Oh, I like to love.
Is it better to love or to be loved?
To love.
Love every time.
And
I get way more out of loving
And
my
the last
kids.
question: are your best days ahead of you or behind you?
They're ahead.
Oh my gosh, definitely ahead.
The funny thing about that question, I've asked that question to everybody in all stripes and ages, 80 years old, 90 years old. They always say ahead of me.
Yeah,
That's-
hasn't happened yet.
That's the power of people. We believe in the future, and we believe at the end of the day in each other, because most people are very good.
Good stuff. Man.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. You're
Really?
delightful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Why do you think my wife's been so happily married for 42 years?
I figured she was just very patient.
Oh my God.
Well, that too.